Hey guys, so I just finished watching Texas Chainsaw 3D, starring Alexandra Daddario as Heather, Tanya Ramond as Nikki, Scott Eastwood as Carl. Scott, what are you doing in this? Trey Songz as Ryan, Dan Yeager as Leatherface, Sean Supos as Daryl, Karim Maliki Sanchez as Kenny, James McDonald as Officer Martin, Tom Barry as Sheriff Hooper, Paul Ray as Burt Hartman, Bill Moseley as Drayton Sawyer, returning to the franchise after his star turn as Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Now he's playing Drayton Sawyer, who was the cook in those previous two movies. And I don't know. Gunnar Hanson as Boss Sawyer, returning, and then this is his last film, and then he unfortunately passed away not long after this. Marilyn Burns as Verna. So Marilyn Burns from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is now the grandmother in this one. Sweet. Dodie Brown as Loretta Sawyer, directed by John Lucenhop and written by Adam Marcus, who is also the director of Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, which kind of explains a lot. This movie is a direct continuation of the original Tobe Hooper classic. It is set pretty much directly when that movie finishes. The movie actually even begins with some footage from that original movie. I watched the 3D version of the film too, so they did do a 3D transfer on that old footage to varying degrees of success. It did look a little weird, but it was an interesting concept seeing that original old film in 3D. It was okay. So we had that scene playing out, ending with Marilyn's character in the back of the pickup, being driven off, and Leatherface doing the chainsaw dance. But then the very next scene is the sheriff turning up with a bunch of the township, a very angry mob there to get retribution on the Sawyer family. There's a bloody shootout and the Sawyer family is pretty much massacred except for one girl, little baby Edith, held in the arms of her mother, Loretta Sawyer. Gavin Miller, who is part of the posse, sees the opportunity to steal the newborn baby while giving Loretta a good old kick to the face, which apparently kills her, takes the baby to his wife, Arlene. They put the baby into the pickup. Then they go back to the frivolity of burning and shooting people and killing people alive. You know, yay, fun. And then the movie cuts from 1973, where that movie was set, to 2012. Now, this is where it gets a little bit weird. The timeline to this is completely skew-if. The writer, Adam Marcus, actually said in an interview that he wrote this story set in the 1990s. So it was actually 20 years or so after that first film ended. So everyone in this film was cast age appropriate for a 1990s setting. But for some reason, John Lucenhop set the movie in 2012. So the character of Heather Miller, young Edith Sawyer, is meant to be in her early 20s, in the 90s. In 2012, her character would be actually roughly 39, and all the other characters who were featured in the mob at the end of that first movie would be 40 years older instead of the 20 years older that they appear in this film. So people in their 30s, 40s in that film would be 50, 60 in this film as the actors are portrayed. But realistically, they would be in their 80s. So straight off the bat, this film has just gone and tripped itself up in the timeline and is, once you see that, you can't unsee it. As the whole first time I saw this movie, this is my second time viewing it, things I do for the channel. The first time I saw this, I was completely taken out trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Why is Alexandra Daddario a young 20-something in 2012 when she was a baby in 1973? So it kind of took me right out of the film, and I did so again now. But anyway, continuing on with the plot, Heather is now living in the city with a boyfriend, and she finds out that her grandmother has just passed away, a grandmother that she never knew about, Marilyn Burns, Verna Sawyer, or Carson, as she's referred to in this movie. She's left Heather an estate. So she and her boyfriend and her two friends, Nikki and Kenny, hop into their Scooby van. Yes, that's a trope of these movies. The kids always get into a Scooby van and head cross-country to Texas. Along the way, once again, they're picking up a random stranger. Daryl. Welcome to the party, Daryl. They keep going to Texas. They meet Farnsworth, played by Richard Reel, who turns up in a lot of these movies as well. Great actor. And he hands over the deed and says, this is your house. Werner has stipulated, though, that you cannot sell it. So move in, have a party, which they promptly do. They rock up to the house and kids being kids start rocking out the pool table, cranking the music, drinking the tequila, having a good time, because that's what you do when you get a new house. Yep. So the kids decide, hey, we need to go get more food and drink. So they decide to go and to hightail it to the local shops to get some food. But Daryl, Sean Sipos, hey, he wants to chill. He's like, you guys go. It's going to unload the bags. This is the hitchhiker dude. Throws his bags down. Catch you later. They take off to get the food. Daryl turns out to be a bit of an asshole. Starts ripping off all the cutlery and all the silverware. Really? It's 2012, dude. I'm no thief, but I guess it's got some value, but he's really taken the knives and forks out of the drawer. Really? Funny's exploration of trying to rip off the house some more. He goes downstairs to the cellar where we find Leatherface. That's right, Jedediah Sawyer, not Thomas Hewitt from the previous movies, the remakes. He's now being rechristened Jedediah Sawyer. So the whole Hewitt thing is now forgotten. Platinum Dunes, forget about it, we're moving on. So that's why this movie is now a direct sequel to that first film. Daryl's promptly taken care of by Leatherface, who in actual fact should be in his 80s by now too, but he's being played as a 60-year-old. Once again, the whole age thing is really doing my head in. The mask looks really wonky too in this one. He doesn't look good. The mask at the beginning, oh my God. He had a mask which was supposed to be a direct correlation of the mask from that first film. New actor, new scene, being redone. And it looked like a porcelain doll. It was weird, it's horrible. So then the movie goes on, the kids come back after Daryl's been murdered and they figure, hey look, the bastards ripped us off, but it's cool, we'll just drink some tequila, have some shots. And then as the story progresses, Heather starts to find out that her family tree is a little bit different than what she realised. She learns that she was adopted at the beginning of the film, so she's really pissed off at the Millers, and then she learns to find out that she's actually a Sawyer, and that her cousin is actually Leatherface. Yay. And the mayor, Bert Hartman, played by Paul Ray, is the bad guy in this film. He doesn't like any Sawyers in his town at all. He wants them all dead, which is kind of reasonable because what this movie tries to do is paint the Sawyers in a sympathetic light. But every other movie, Hewitt, Sawyer, whatever, every other movie from that first one on has painted the Sawyers as a raving bunch of lunatics, cannibalistic savages who just massacre anybody who crosses their path. This movie decides to make them the sympathetic heroes of the piece. They even, at the last minute in this film, turn Leatherface into the anti-hero of the film. Leatherface is a classic icon. He's a fantastic villain. The creation, his persona, everything about him is horrifying. Even in the remakes, he was scary. In this film, through most part of it, he's that scary villain. He's chopping people up at the chain store. He's just killing randomly, butchering them, whacking the meat bits into the fridge for dinner. And at the very end, we've got the mayor coming after Heather. Her friends have all been killed in glorious 3D fashion. And he wants her dead. Leatherface turns up. He's about to kill Heather. Then he realizes she's got this little scar on her chest, which is a direct reflection of her mother's necklace that got burned onto her somehow. He recognizes that because all the portraits in the household of all the family members are all wearing necklaces. It's a thing. So that's how he realizes that she's family, and she says, hey, I'm your cousin. And then the sheriff and the other bad dude turn up. They get the better of Leatherface. They've chained him up and they're going to drag him into this big grinder in the pit. Like, his chain is being pulled in and he's going to be messy. Heather runs away thinking, thank God I'm away from this fucking place. Changes her mind when she hears Leatherface screaming for his life. So she turns back, pitchfork, kills lanky number one, and then gets the chainsaw, throws it to Leatherface, is on the ground with the chain around his neck. Do your thing, cuz. He gets up, he has a bit of a fight with the mayor. Even the cop turns up and is like watching the fight with the gun trained on Leatherface, and Heather's like, don't shoot. Leatherface eventually gets the better of the mayor and throws him into the pit. The mayor's hanging on for dear life, about to fall into the meat grinder, and Leatherface cuts his hands off. Meanwhile, the cop's watching him and then, puts his gun away. The mayor falls into the pit, grinded up to pulp. Cop says, clean this shit up, turns around, walks out. And then Leatherface is all, and they have a moment, Heather and Leatherface have a nice little family reunion, and it was just weird. Like, what the hell? What? The cop walked away, he didn't even... This movie was bad. Okay, watched it in 3D. The 3D was okay. Like, there were some scenes where the sword's coming out at you and all that kind of stuff. With the glasses on, it kind of did change the look of the film to like a greenish hue all the way through it. And like, I took the glasses off and the film looked fine. Putting the glasses on again, it kind of just really skew with the look of the film, made it really look quite very cheap and nasty, and it just did not look good at all. The cinematography was pretty foul, but I know that's what happens when you do a 3D movie. The glasses do change the hue of the film. So, but it was fun, I guess. I don't watch a lot of 3D movies, but it was a novelty. The whole 3D thing is kind of going to be going away soon. Scott Eastwood in this film was pretty much wasted. He didn't have much to do. He was just a local cop boy, and yeah, he goes on to better things, thank goodness. And Alexandra Daddario, I love her. She's one of those great actresses that I enjoy seeing in my genre films. She's been with The Rock a few times in San Andreas and Baywatch. Baywatch was really hokey. But she's a quality actress that I enjoy seeing. When they were casting Wonder Woman, before Gal Gadot got the part, I was really rooting for her to get the role because she's just got that look, that Wonder Woman look, the big, beautiful blue eyes and the jet black hair. We had Matt Bomer in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning, who was really rooting to get the Superman part. And now we have Alexandra Daddario in Texas Chainsaw 3D, who was really rooting to get the Wonder Woman part. But yeah, there you have it. So yeah, the movie was really hokey. The story was really bad. The direction was mediocre. Some of the kills were fun. The gore was nicely used. So yeah, there is some stuff in here for the gore hounds. But Leatherface was just kind of a bit rough. He did get a better mask on during the later part of the film. But there's even a scene when he's running through like a fair, like chasing after Alexandra with the chainsaw through a crowded area, which is just... And the cop didn't take the shot. Oh my God. It was a terrible film. Giving Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or Texas Chainsaw 3D, a rating, 3. You like 3 so much? Have a 3 out of 10 because you're a terrible film. I'm glad that the cast in this have gone on to better things and survived and still have careers. But as the final film in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre retrospective that I've been doing, it kind of ends on a real bum note. I don't know if they're bringing any more Texas Chainsaw Massacres to the screen. I would really love to see Leatherface back. He's iconic. Just don't do to him what you did to him in this film. He's the villain. He's the bad guy. He's not the sympathetic cousin out to save your life. He's just not. He wants to eat you after dissecting you with a chainsaw. That's the rules. Anyway, thank you so much for checking into my channel and checking out the Texas Chainsaw Massacre retrospective. I've had so much fun revisiting this franchise, all the way from that original Tobe Hooper classic through to the really mediocre Texas Chainsaw 3D. There has been some highlights in this franchise and a lot of lowlights, definitely. But overall, there's been more hits than misses in this franchise. There really has. That original film is an absolute classic. It's a gem. Part 2 was really different and quite a satire. Really something different. Part 3 was a lot of fun. Pure 90s ham. Part 4, I don't want to talk about it. Then we've had the 2 very glossy Texas Chainsaw remakes, which were a lot of fun. And then we've had this one, which is really bad. But then we did move on to Leatherface. Yes, I did forget about Leatherface. That did come next. If you're actually watching this retrospective in order, yeah, this is the last film I've actually done in the series. Leatherface is still to come after this one. So I'm going to finish up my retrospective and on this film and just say, yeah, thank you very much. I hope you stick around and watch my Leatherface review coming up in a minute. But yeah, it has been a lot of fun. So yeah, if you've seen the films and you've come along for the ride, thank you so much. If you haven't seen the films, then yeah, definitely check them out. They're really good horror fare. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking into my channel. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Now, it's your turn.